Hello and welcome to Rolling Escapades Season 2, Episode 30, Part 2, web series in which we play D&D, put it online for your entertainment. Still sponsored by Dessel. We still have Christopher Rolls as our artist. Part 1 was the Errant Guard investigating the separate walled area and trying to work out what happened with the children. We have a slight modification because I wasn't paying full attention to what was going on. At the point in time when Icarus cast Detect Magic, he would have noticed that on Dessel there was aura magic, there was enchantment magic on Dessel, which is wherever it slipped my mind. But they arrived at the information regardless, so no harm done.
No harm,
No harm, no foul, or no fun, no how.
Every time.
So, you guys are currently standing in the middle of this area. You know that some of the children have been disappearing during play. You know that the guards have had something cast on them to modify their memory. Derek reckons it's something akin to the Modify Memory spell.
Do we let them know that they've had their memories modified?
I tend to think panic is
not until we can do something about it.
not conducive. So
Yeah.
yes, no.
Okay.
But let's. I think that the wisest, least brash choice of action is to clarify our situation and fortify our location, as it were, by doing a perimeter search, just for any further clues that maybe we have, us or the other guards may have bypassed during any checks.
Outside?
I mean outside, yes.
And if we find no more traces, then we go to the cave.
Being as it's our only active lead and is, generally speaking, in the direction which we require to travel for any further information, yes.
How far out of the town are we going to circle to check for stuff?
Well,
I think
how many of us have said?
once we're outside of the walls, I think we give up.
Well, yeah, I think maybe we walk along in a line, so 30 foot, I guess, or so.
What? So we're going around this area, searching the outer area, so we're just doing it for 30 foot from the walls?
Yes, we're walking.
Well, that's one of the two option plans. The other plan is mine. But are we going to vote on anyone else got a plan?
Oh.
That's it's a fine plan.
Well, it's a plan.
So we have two plans, two options.
It's better to have two than one.
Any other thoughts?
I could have another circle around with Detect Magic again to see if there was another spells used.
If you do it on the outside, you mean?
Yes, because
Yes,
I
around.
wouldn't be
But
able
yes,
to
then
see.
yeah, that part would help.
Yes.
So
Shade, any Shadow Guardy thoughts?
should we take a vote?
Any special senses happening? You know.
Those in favour of disposing of our halfling?
I think it's just too risky. I don't want to put Derek through
Yeah,
that.
sure. Let's dispose of the halfling now. After
Very
that
good,
comment.
very good. No votes. And those. Okay, one vote.
There was two.
I was being sarcastic.
But I have been outvoted, so yes.
I was trying to put away the fact that he voted for your death. Those of us in favour of doing a search and then going to the cave,
Yes.
I think the cave has it. Sweep time.
You think I'm avoiding certain death by going to that cave? I have some news for you, my friend.
No, we just don't want to have to find your
Not
corpse.
certain, just very likely.
As you didn't find anything with Detect Magic inside the enclosure, it might be worth holding on to your remaining spell slots. I don't think you'll find much outside either.
Yes, how much do you actually have left in the tank so far?
I have the resources to keep going.
But if we were to come into a fight in this cave that Derek has already told us is... Was it you?
Well, you said there was bad juju in the
Yes.
cave, right?
Yeah, I was just double checking. I was saying the right character went to the cave. It said it was dangerous already.
It's cold and bad, yes.
Cold and bad, not a good combination. But I just want to make sure you're not going to expend a spell that might save someone's rear end in 40 minutes' time.
I have a feeling I already cast that spell at the start of the day.
Excellent. Well, let's keep going then. Why not?
I think it's necessary for Icarus to cast the spell. If we can find a clue to the children's whereabouts, that is priority at this point.
I do have enough.
I'm just making sure he's not going to run into the dry doing it.
I do have
Because
enough.
if he is, then we
power
won't go and
reserve
have a
to-
fight.
I have more than enough.
He is a
power
member of
to
the Purple
contribute
Helix, and I
in a
trust
fight.
him to manage his spell resources appropriately.
And as a member of the guard, I also trust him. I'm just making.
I'm a
taking
big boy.
stock.
Let me cast my spell.
Cast away, sir. Cast away.
Right.
I'm just taking stock of where
I
we
will
are.
cast and I will jog ahead. You follow.
Oh
maybe
God, yes, you must
maybe
be
you
away.
could follow us and not disturb the tracks
Well,
if we find any.
Maybe let's just stay as a group, and you two search for tracks. If they find anything, you go over with tech magic to see what you can. If there's anything in the area.
I will wait
Um,
at the entrance for you to circle round.
No, just
No. Stay with us.
Yeah.
Stay with us.
Yeah. No, why would I bother waiting?
These two, you two at the front scouting. Eldran cover the rear with me, and then you two in the middle, keeping an eye out for any dangers and stuff while I'm covering our scouts. And Parr is backing us up from
Somewhere.
He's existing.
Paul will be rear guard as well.
Cool. I was going to say he could take point, but yeah, that works too.
I mean, I can't take point because then they'll be just forming past tracks. They'll be like, oh look, we found some tracks. Oh, there's big dwarf feet. Oh.
Get out the way.
Parr, stop standing on things.
Well, let us execute this well-crafted plan.
Well, yes. I mean,
What roles do you require, DM?
we all agreed that I was to lead in these tactical type situations.
So,
Did
Wait a minute, do we have cloud memory
No.
on us? I don't remember
Someone
that.
proclaimed themselves in
I
charge.
am glorious leader.
You must follow me. New today?
I'm happy to concede the role to someone else if they want to step forward. Someone who is used to leadership positions and commanding people.
Am I not?
Think should be me.
I'm notably
So,
not
roll.
looking at Parr when that happens.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Pa, why don't you tell us what to do?
He's oddly agreeable today.
Damn it! Try to throw it, Andrew.
No throw.
What?
That's why you can't throw the ball, dude.
No, that's a hat. It has 0 weight.
I'll
Right.
help you.
So should we meet up at the
Searching.
gate and then
Yeah.
head out then?
Yeah.
So you're slipping out the gate. You're doing a perimeter of the wall about 30 foot out.
Standing in a line doing that.
We asked Dessel to let us out the gate.
Yeah.
Rather than just go and open it ourselves.
Well, yeah.
well.
You're not going to get out of the gate unless they let you out. So just to get, are you doing a column search, as in you're all sort of? I know that you're.
Yes,
but
I
staggered.
intend.
Yes, doing that. Cool. And then the wall is here, and that's how you're searching like that.
Yes.
You're not doing that.
No,
Cool.
we're not doing line through a field with sticks and poking the ground.
Cool. Column search. Wonderful.
Because some of us will just be like, haven't found anything while we're stamping over the tracks that these two could have found. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
only
sort of
these
seeing
two
it
have got a
being
chance
like
of finding
Mhm.
stuff
It's
like
almost
that.
like a diagonal-ish line, kind of.
Okay.
you've got something like
It's just a
this
advanced
going
formation.
on.
How long we spent
Yeah, it's a diamond
searching though?
formation.
Yeah,
That's a good
Or like
question.
a-
I think we should do 2 laps, one 30 foot out, maybe one further out.
yeah.
60
I'm
foot
not
out or 50 foot? Yeah, 30 foot and then 60 foot out.
Let's do the first week first.
Okay.
I'm not casting
Yeah.
anything until there's suspicions.
Yeah, so
Probably a good
Yeah.
idea.
No.
Yeah.
Cool. So no spells are being cast. I just because we're still learning what the UA does. Remember, your UA gives you 1 use of detect magic, so it doesn't burn a spell slot.
Primal awareness.
Yeah. Because using primal awareness rather than primeval awareness, but not saying use it. I'm just making you aware. Right. So you two are leading the searching for tracks, but you are helping
I will help
Shamshir.
him. Yeah.
So Shamshir, make a survival check with advantage for me, please.
Oh, that's not so lucky as the first round. That's going to be a 13.
A 13. Okay. So you guys begin making your sweep of the area outside of the wall.
even though he's the main person, are we going to be looking as well? Because or are we just strolling around?
Yeah, it was said
You're-
as we were doing it, we were looking for things
You're
around us.
you're looking. I assume you're looking out for danger. You're not going to be able to see any.
threats.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you're not going to see any tracks that may appear because they're going to be covered by the time you get to see them.
Yes.
So yeah, you can make perception check as you look out for threats.
Oh, dear.
That's the one, isn't it? No.
But you start making your way around, and there isn't much in the way of activity like relative to what's just inside the gate on the inside, but you can see that this wall does quite regularly have things come up to it, but there's nothing that you can see that looks like what might be a small child or anything carrying a weight or anything. It's sort of a bunch of things that sort of wander up to the wall, stay there for a bit, and then eventually a body hits the floor. And then that gets lifted up and taken somewhere else, sort of thing. You don't see anything that could be related to inside. It just sort of looks like the defenders repelling an attacker. Your perception checks were
3.
3,
19.
19.
7.
Cool.
I'm best fucking guard ever.
So you're keeping an eye out. Nothing comes up to you. Nothing bothers you. Nothing is making its way towards you. Which, again, is going to strike you as odd because, as Dessel said, they normally expect some sort of undead or something to some sort of response when they have an event inside these things, and they had a funeral, which is them burning bodies.
Light and sound, both of the things these things are meant to react to, and there's
Yeah.
been no reaction.
Yes.
But just so I can double check my notes, sorry.
Mhm.
He'd said there wasn't any other notable changes in activity.
He said that, and then he went, although we haven't had an attack today, which I would have expected by this
Other than
point.
that thing,
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. That is just...
But yeah, so you complete your perimeter sweep, and you don't see anything of interest or something that catches your attention.
So?
Nothing that looks beyond the simple skirmishes of the decoy camp. I can't see any small children tracks. It's quite scuffled out here as well, where in the past they've had quite a lot of activity over the days, the weeks, but nothing stands out as wandering children. You should maybe try further afield, further out.
If you... I have a question for the guards, because, well, the monsters here are alien to us, for lack of a better term. Maybe one of them has forgotten to elaborate that maybe there is something that they don't particularly believe may be real that is responsible for these actions. And also, I'd like to pray on this matter a brief moment, but we seem safe here if you would like to do a second, slightly larger round whilst I do that.
Or do you want to go back in the enclosure?
Yes,
while you do
yes,
that?
I'll just be in the gates.
Could you ask them as well what they know of the cave?
Ask about the cave. Indeed, yes, of course.
I'll
Well-
go with Eldoran,
No, just stay.
just in case something happens, because I can then use the Dimension Door spell, my cape, to get him there very quickly if he needs to be. To get to a fight. If they get attacked.
Are you not the detect magic guy?
No, that's him.
That's me.
Okay
Just in case it's needed.
Yeah, okay, cool. So you're staying with the gate just in
Yeah.
case something happens to these guys, and you're going to
Yeah.
try and... Essentially, you're going to keep an ear out for if something happens to these guys, so you can grab him and try and get there.
Yeah.
Noted. Okay, we'll do...
I'll be standing on top of like the tower or something, so I can try and keep an eye out on them from around. Then if they get into trouble, I jump down, grab him, and teleport.
Tower?
I assume there was
a
a tower, a gatehouse,
It's a
gatehouse.
Alright.
Yeah.
which is a bit not quite a tower, but it's still
Tower,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
15 is 25.
Cool. So Dessel lets you back in, and sort of like, yeah.
It came to me that whilst we were walking around this fine establishment,
It's a wall.
well, it seems to be doing quite a job of keeping all of death from overrunning you. So, fine establishment. We are foreign to this land. The monsters here are unlike those that we have faced before. In legends of where we are from, there are many beasts that can influence, charm, and otherwise intoxicate the mind. And, well, I'm sure you have some here, but we don't know of them. What I'm trying to get at is there something that may have done this to you that maybe you haven't told us about? Any myths or lore?
No,
of
nothing that I know of.
Okay, there's a cave 5 miles somewhat in the southeasterly direction along the path that we come between here and your main settlement. One of our parts, you're giving me a blank look like you've never heard of this cave before in your life.
No, where's the cave?
Don't worry about it.
No, where's the cave?
Would be 200 foot east of the road as it curves and makes an easterly Miranda around the bend in the river, some 1.5 miles down the road. But we sent one of our members ahead, and they found it to be cold and terrifying. Does that sound like any of the monsters you keep upon this island of yours?
I mean, the living dead are cold to the touch, and they are terrifying to see. Yes.
No, more. More ethereal than that. He didn't say he saw anything, but perceived evil and danger.
I mean, the undead come in an ethereal form.
Ethereal?
Ethereal form.
Ghost, you mean
Right,
ghosts?
unzero.
yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking here, like, I'm not sure if he's making a redneck or
No.
he fucked up.
God damn.
Ghost in the book.
Ghosts, spectres, wraiths, shadows.
Okay. Usual suspects. Well, that, I suppose, was everything I had to ask.
Yeah.
Um,
You said you were usual suspects.
Well, the rest are just doing a perimeter search, and otherwise we will be off to obtain more information and find your children.
I hope you do.
Likewise.
Cool. Right, I'm going back on the wall. Okay.
Good to know they don't know anything.
Is a ghost child more or less deadly?
Less.
Depends if it possesses you or not.
Yay.
So, you
Yeah, got your thing.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that afterwards.
okay? You guys are. How far out are you searching?
I'd say at least 60, but
Yeah.
possibly pushing like 90.
I think we should go slightly, like, we're not trying to hug the wall, because if they want to leave the area, they'll have to go some distance out,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they don't immediately start revealing their tracks next to the place they're
Maybe
kidnapping
we
children
sort of
from.
do like a wave kind of thing. Not
Is-
just go
is
a
it-
circle, do like a wiggly.
Is it just flat open land around it, or is it tall grass, bushes, trees?
It's mostly mud, but you are in a ravine. So when you start hitting the sort of like 60, 70 feet is when you're starting hitting the hills that are around.
So that's kind of the far enough point where you could hide and pop out.
Yeah, in theory, you could get around behind the incline of a hill and disappear out of sight. Yeah.
So should we try
About
that
there.
far out, about 70?
Yeah,
Yeah.
call it that.
Cool.
We've got to sort of search the potential cover bit that they could use to approach. That's it.
Because they're not going to walk straight up to the wall and go, now's a great time to hide.
Yeah, but they can because they can walk us out and go, all right guys, how's it going? They'll go, how's it going? What do I bring?
Valid.
Cool. Right. So let's have. I assume again you make a survival check with advantage. I assume Shamshir is being helped.
Yes.
So this time around it's going to be 23.
23.
You started with an oh no. I was like, oh god, Mike.
Okay. So. As you follow your sort of windy path, especially as you pay close attention to the backsides of the hill where they can disappear out of sight. You do down one little smaller ravine that's coming off from this valley.
Service.
Gully, that's the word.
That's the word,
Yeah. You find tracks of something that is humanoid in like foot size and shape. Hang on.
So it has a foot with toes.
It has a foot with toes. It has.
Right.
Well, it has, technically, it's got 2 feet with toes.
It's bipedal.
Yeah.
The hop along there. And
No,
his
that is-
trampoline.
He's normally got 3 legs, but what, he's lost one.
Stop looking at the picture, Sam.
That won't help. That's just terrifying.
He does hold it in a weird place, so he's kind of leaning it towards
Well,
it.
it's just.
What's the name?
It doesn't matter. You don't have the book.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, it
The
doesn't mean
monster's
anything.
large and
It
it's
does, 'cause
dark
some
and it's
do
probably
have
undead in
books.
some way, and kind of greenish.
Okay. Yeah. So you
Well,
can
yes, that's-
see
Which is everything on this island.
the footprints
It's going to try and kick you.
of some sort of bipedal, which also, along with the wherever the right leg steps, there is next to us a very like sort of inch or so thick hole.
Cane.
What, dragging a bag?
Walking cane.
No, it's
Fucking walking stick.
yeah, it looks like some sort of cane or walking stick or staff or something like that.
Is it
It's not
sequentially
mine, I
picked
swear.
up in matching tracks, or is it being dragged the whole way?
That is being picked up and moved along. You can see the tracks coming in, which have the same thing, and then they disappear as they round the corner, and you see the tracks leaving. Or the tracks leaving are definitely weighted down more.
He's got a bat. He's got a little sack of cats on his shoulder.
I'll gesture to the group now. I'll bring them over
Mhm.
and say, "Do you see these tracks?
Mm-hmm.
See this?
Yeah.
These are humanoid feet approaching the settlement and leaving again. Slightly weightier.
What are these dots?
Walking accompaniments, a staff, a sword.
I size it up.
I have
with
my staff as
staff.
well, and I'm like, wait, okay.
Oh yeah, what is the girth of Sam's staff or Shade's staff compared to this?
Wouldn't you want to know?
Yeah.
That's a personal question
Shades
there.
Shade staff is a little thicker.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
The innuendometer's off the chart.
With that setup, how could I not?
Yeah.
Under our fault.
Yeah,
The-
really.
The interesting thing is this creature is definitely medium sized. They are the same sort of size as a human.
Maybe it is a human.
When-
I mean, we can detect magic here, but we've got something more evidential to follow.
To be honest, we know at this point that it's here, it disappears and it returns. I don't feel it's necessary to cast something which we can quite easily deduce. Where does it lead?
Does it carry on down into the gully?
It carries on going, yeah. The interesting thing you do notice is that there's 4 sets of tracks, 2 coming in, 2 coming out. A set going in and out is older, than this. Yeah, which also means they made 2 trips.
So it's one creature doing 2 trips.
Yep.
Right.
Medium-sized creature, but they managed to carry
Both taking the same route to and from.
more or less. Yeah, not quite obviously stepping in the exact same places.
If we look at our map,
So there are 4 sets of tracks.
Yep.
One set of tracks going in and coming out from 6 days ago. One
Yep.
set of tracks going in and coming out from 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Winner, winner.
if we were to inspect our map,
Chicken dinner.
do you think we could see any town settlements or anything of note in that direction? Where we know
No,
it would be. Okay.
no.
Is it going like more into the mountains? Well,
Yeah,
it's
does it go
cold.
towards the cave that we've seen previously, or does it go in a complete other direction?
Complete different direction.
Shall we follow the tracks?
I think we should get Elderan
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah,
turn this way.
that would be the better idea to get them before we just disappear entirely.
But I don't know. I'm not gonna say no.
How far away is Aegis?
I was trying to watch them as long as I could.
Yeah. You are the other side of the walled area. So, how did I make this? I think I said it was a 300-foot diameter,
About 400 foot away, thereabouts.
something like that. Yeah. I said it was a. I can't remember how big I said it was.
Let's say that number.
Yeah. That number rings about. It was either 300-foot diameter or 300-foot radius, but 300-foot radius is huge, so probably 300-foot diameter.
And we've got the other walls.
So
along the
I
way.
can't see him.
No,
Okay.
You can see a black spot that may be him.
there's a wall in the way.
Can I go up the hill a little bit so I can see the top of the
Let's
wall?
just walk back.
No, I can do this faster.
Oh right, message, yeah.
Yeah. It's only
Put it
Yeah,
on
if
your
you can.
shoulders.
Yeah.
You'd have to come a lot closer for
Can
that.
you see an arrow slit?
Put him on your shoulder. This is.
We're next to a hill.
Message does only have a range of 120 feet.
I wasn't intending to use message.
Oh, okay, you're going to do
I'm going to
something
shoot
else.
him.
Sending.
What?
He's going to send a thought your way.
Fair
You're not
enough.
telling anyone.
I've got my crossbow out.
Okay, Stark pulls out his crossbow and starts
Derek.
heading up the hill.
What's
Where's
the
the
range
enemy?
of a crossbow?
320.
Where's the enemy?
Thankfully, I am 400 feet away.
I don't see any.
I'm going to shoot it towards Aegis.
So he's got
Um,
a
His
disadvantage at
attention.
least.
So first you want to be bait, and now you want to shoot our own party member.
I feel like if he does this, then the guards in town are going to shoot him.
So how about no? We go and get them.
Probably 30 seconds journey.
And if you want to speed things up, I will run there because I'm probably
Say for
the
him
quickest.
about.
Okay, yes, that's more sensible.
I love
If
the
you're
fact that
okay
my
with
brain
staying
goes
here.
to shoot him. I love it. It's the best.
You can shoot him
It's
later.
a habit now.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
So, Erebus, you're just going to start sprinting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Closest to the wall.
Can you do that monk thing yet? We just run up walls.
no.
Also, I think the guards will also batter you in that situation.
Yeah.
If they can see you, they
Can you
would.
not?
Please
I
don't.
think you'd be able to walk before they could really realise.
Let's go. So you'll sprint your way down to the gatehouse, which you'll see him stop coming because you're trying to keep an eye out. Actually, no, you won't see them because they're at the bottom of the hill because they're behind a wall. So,
You'll see me when I'm at the gatehouse, essentially.
Dessel eventually sort of leans over to you guys and is like, "There's one of them is back to talk to you," and he opens the gate.
We found more tracks, which is good, and we know where they're leading off.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there praying.
So we're ready to go. If you're all down here.
But I'm praying.
I think we've got to wait a second for him to finish what he's doing. How long has it been since he started?
How long are you gonna be?
Now, I guess.
Good.
Dog check.
They found some tracks.
We've got tracks.
I will.
They're of the same, but one's slightly older than the other, so it indicates that this thing has done multiple journeys. It adds up to the MO that we've got.
Very good. I
It's
tighten the shoulders and let's go. Come,
So-
show.
it's a small. humanoid tracks as well.
I turn
Dessel.
Shade round and just
Yeah.
start walking out the gate.
Dessel goes, hold up one sec.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Every time.
Skewerism.
It's going to happen.
You found tracks. Cool. Good. Okay. You're investigating them now. Obviously, you're investigating them now. That's why.
Like,
No shit, Sherlock.
It's only slightly after midday-ish.
He's the
isn't it?
captain.
Well, there is no night. There is no midday.
I'm saying that we're about halfway through our day.
There is no day.
You've been hang on,
Halfway through our time awake.
hour,
Yeah. Okay.
hour,
Fair.
hour. Yeah, you've been going about 4.5 hours at this point.
So, yeah.
Anyways, right, I'm coming with you.
sure. Yes.
Side quest, keep Dessel
Go,
alive.
go. No.
Optional.
That is optional.
Yeah, I was going to
best.
say, I didn't get told that.
The very best
That's
I
fate,
said,
man.
the
That's if
optional
she goes,
is-
that's fate.
Yeah, I mean,
Festive, you're in charge now.
We're heroes.
if he gets himself killed, he gets himself killed.
Right. Combat starts. Banish the guy.
Yes.
Do the fight.
No, I polymorph him into something.
Cool.
Put him in the bag, let's go.
Yeah, it won't take 10 minutes. That's fucking good. Yeah. Get it back.
Get it back.
It's for your good.
Okay,
There were 2 clerics in here. Forgot about them.
so he comes
Oh, I forgot
down
about them.
and joins you as you. Like,
Oh,
right,
God.
where are we going?
Follow me and we'll meet up with the others.
Wonderful. Right, name,
Shade.
odd name, name,
Ages.
name.
Oh yeah, not bad.
Elran Skylark.
Surname, fancy.
Lord. If we're going with titles as well, for extra fancy.
What's his look on his face? He looked quite serious, then, I presume.
He looks
And not
Like,
like
ready to
someone
go.
who's just
Looks like someone who wants to rescue some kids. From
Yeah.
no.
he looks
Checking.
both happy to have found information and now hyper focused to be like, cool, I can actually do something now.
Cool, yeah.
Before he's just like, I don't
It
know
looks
what's going
genuine.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on, I don't know what's happening. Right.
Got it.
Does he look like he was 3 days from retirement?
No.
For this place.
Now, don't
No.
get your hopes up too high. There's no guarantee we'll find.
Yeah, I mean, I
Good,
know where we are. They've been gone a long time, but it'd be nice to at least find out what happened.
I agree.
Let's
I'm
go.
just- Yeah, we
Yeah, we walk and go.
Yeah, you make your way over. So you guys see Shade returning with Eldoran, Aegis, and Dessel.
That's always a pleasure.
Name.
Reinforcements. Oh yeah, I never introduced myself earlier, did I?
I didn't care before, to be fair. Name.
Look, you're not in charge here, you can come and help along, but just don't do anything stupid and try not to get us all killed,
He
okay?
responds to Shamshir.
Shamshir. Name.
Derek Highgrass. Derek for short.
Well done.
Derek. Name.
Nice guy.
It's Par. Name. Par says Par.
No, you put like, poor Roland, not the blah 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 blah.
Captain.
He probably fully introduces himself.
Yes,
but
yeah.
whatever. Good. Right now we know each other's names. Well, I know your names. You knew my name already. Tracks. Let's go. You may lead.
You
No
know
hard
what?
name says to do anything, you do it. And I'll look for the tracks
Mm-hmm.
this way.
With the Errant Guard, Johnson in charge here. If we say form up, we will tell you. Is that understood?
Wonderful.
Do you know much of the lie of the land in this direction? As I assume we start heading off in a direction.
No.
Excellent. You
Great.
bring up the rear then.
Well, at least I expect him to know the creatures that are out here, so that's one thing that will help.
Gentlemen, we are outside the walls. Let us speak softly if we, and only when we have to. And no firebolts.
I will be very much changing my spells.
And only when necessary.
I just wish to impale them with it at the moment.
Well, what you do in your own time is your own business.
Thank you.
But they should tell stories about the nobles back in.
Shout out.
I think for now we should have done this quietly, and they probably won't be expecting to be followed if they've erased their tracks so meticulously. But if we think we get close to a nest, a town or anything, maybe then we should pass without trace.
Absolutely, but you know,
But
it's
if
going to be
you
hard to tell. If,
see
clear-
some
how-
major change, then yes.
How clear are these tracks? How fast can you follow them? Do you have to move slowly, or can we move to a reasonable pace?
Very much.
You've
Now, right?
you've got a good sense of them. You were able to, essentially your roll is high enough. You can quite clearly see them. You can move with some pace and still follow them.
Still going to be keeping an eye out for any dangers while following him for the tracks.
Mm-hmm. Just bear with one sec.
I'm going to spend my time trying to get a read on Dessel, like how capable and competent is he?
Yeah, my interest is far more focused on whether or not that guy knows how to handle.
He was
Yeah, I mean,
very
are we walking? Have we been joined by a potential meat shield, or have we been joined by a new team liability?
He was the guy in charge, so
Yeah, but that means shit.
He is both already his spears, or he's moving with his spear at the ready, his shield up, and he is moving very quietly.
Hey.
Good.
He's actually got training.
Well, as they said, they train everyone here is trained from the age of 5, because if you don't know how to fight, you die.
like the kids.
Yeah.
you don't know if they.
So that means the kids were less than 5.
No, you had the ages of the kids.
Yeah, they were very.
Below murdering age? Or above murdering?
Age range 8 to 13.
So they failed at their murdering skills.
I mean,
They
it's-
won't be getting their murdering degrees anytime soon.
I
Murdering merit badge, sir.
Maybe.
yeah, I mean that's why I kind of asked what games they were playing. I was wondering if they were like doing like combat drills.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, we have to do the assault course again.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's a good way of training kids
Yeah.
subliminally.
Having like an archery range would make loads of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today you kids are doing cardio. Go on a run around.
Yeah.
Alright, kids, bludgeon yourselves with sticks for the next hour.
Yeah. Anything like that for
But he
subliminal
poked me.
training.
That's the whole point of it.
That's a point. I
Whack
do
him.
have my longbow out
Yeah.
since
You let him
danger.
poke you.
Yeah. He had the
Danger,
guard down.
danger.
How old? Oh wait, no, you can't do that. That'll bring all the deadly swarms of fruit flies to you.
Zombie flat.
No, shocking
Zombie
grasp is
fly.
quick enough.
Just don't set a metal pole on electricity.
What's our like marching order going to be?
Yeah, give me your guys your marching order.
Us two up front.
Scouts-
That's what I was
scouts first
thinking.
thing,
But,
Trackers at the front.
yeah.
Trackers at the front.
lightning.
I'm assuming.
Side by side or the gap?
Yeah.
Slight gap.
Slight
Yeah,
gap.
Yeah.
Steps for a gap. Because you put your rear guard in as the third point in the middle, but at the back, like one step back.
Oh, that's
So they're your vanguard, and then
Yeah.
everyone else. So you have like a double protective thing. So you've got the 2 trackers and their guard, then you've got everyone else. So they can. That
I
means the
was
guard
going to
unit can go.
suggest you and Pa rank 2. Is that? Do you think that, or would you just want?
You might want one of
you?
those at the back.
I think that I want to stick Dessel at the back.
I'd
Really?
Yeah.
like not to leave
I
him on
would.
his own.
I'd
No,
go
I'll be
with
with him
Then that's fine. Yeah. Then me and Park can take point.
because then it's those 2 in the middle.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes.
We have to keep team jam
Team.
in the middle.
Yes.
Right, so those 2 at the front,
Magic users go in the middle.
Eldran and Pa second.
immediately behind or gap,
Gap.
like that.
Always a gap.
Okay.
Casters. Team
Trackers,
sorcerer.
do you prefer a tactical spacing
Dessel.
or a non-tactical spacing? 5 foot or 10 foot?
And we trust
I'm
Dessel
happy
enough
with
to have
that.
him watching our back.
Yes.
Yes,
There's no
Derek's
reason not
there.
to trust
Okay.
him.
Modified memory.
Yeah.
Also, he's not in the middle, so if he does do something, then we can all
His
turn
model
and
looks like an
focus
orc.
on him.
Mhm.
So, you know, we might want to orc check him. His model
And
definitely
again,
looks like
Derek
an
thinks if he does turn on us, he's going to attack me because Derek is determined to take one for the team
Wait
at
a
some
second,
point
he's
because
not
that's how he rolls.
That's
Yeah.
You've seen that, sir.
But he doesn't. Doesn't. Derek's going to survive very long if he keeps doing this thing, but that's what he's doing.
Okay. Are you guys moving quietly? Although Dessel highly advises that
Yes.
you try to move
Yeah.
with a little bit more,
Yeah.
well, a little
Yeah,
bit
that's what
less
we were.
noise.
We try and go as quiet as possible and as quick as they're able
yes.
to track,
Yeah.
which probably leads us to.
So,
our
if we're moving at standard speed, does that mean disadvantage?
Standard speed, no.
No.
No,
Just straight
we're-
roll.
It's a straight roll. Unless you've got disadvantage already. That
Yeah.
is.
We're wearing armour.
Oh wait, are we all calling?
Stealth. What I was suggesting
Yes.
as a.
That's what I just rolled stuff. Yes.
So glad it rolled on.
Oh my god! Oh!
Gee willikers.
Oh my god, the double digits!
They still go down.
Yeah, they go down by 2, but I mean, it's still double digits.
It's like a 1 in 400 chance of getting the same good roll.
Yeah, and it helps.
Huh.
It's double digits, guys. I didn't do like a 9 in stealth.
So if we rolled the same on our stealth rolls, the difference would be 12. Because you're -2 and I'm +10. Wow.
You couldn't let him have that, could you, Roll?
Oh.
You bastard.
Hey, some of us we're built for different things. We have different roles within the party.
Okay. Note to self. Get the updated version of past character sheet.
Yes.
This is like a level 3.
I've got a level 6.
Paper
Level
the whole
6
time,
with
isn't it?
damage
Yeah.
taken.
It's
Cool.
it's disadvantage with what? +1?
Oh, yeah. I don't think his stealth rolls have changed. Yeah, his disadvantage. He has rolled
Does he have positive dex?
a 16.
He beat me. The motherfucker beat me. He beat me by 1.
It's a team check. It's still good.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, you beat me.
Kind of.
And he
But
has
not
dexterity.
really. Because you're here.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was Liam rolling for him, so
Yeah. All right. You got
50.
15,
19.
19,
26.
26,
21.
21,
13.
13,
21.
21, 16, and Dessel also got a 16.
I rolled worse than you.
You know what? Have that.
That's what I said.
Cool.
Expertise, baby.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
jack of all trades, expertise, and all that shit. Doing you some.
So, and then you were looking out for danger specifically. You said
Danger.
yes. Which are you guys? You guys are moving at a normal pace, you say, or fast pace?
No.
Normal pace, cool. That's fine.
I'm gently skipping.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you just get to make. Yeah, would be
That's
a
just trying to keep up with humans.
straight perception check.
16.
16. Cool.
I love these dice trays. You think the dice are going to stop, but then it rolls like 3 extra faces. You're like,
I make the best dice trays.
Did you make these? Oh.
Yes, these are handmade.
Handmade ones, yeah.
Not picture frames.
Not at all.
If you would like to order your own,
Yeah.
Like to order your own dice tray where the dice keeps rolling and rolls around.
it's
Okay.
true.
So, you guys
It is awesome.
follow the gully. It does sort of wind and weave around the edges of the hills. It starts moving away from being mud to just being rock. And you are sort of entering into sort of in between cliff faces as on either side of you. The ground just grows up around you to be a cliff face, which the tracks aren't so easy to follow anymore. But you can't see any signs of anything climbing the side. It's all kept on going. As you guys are making your way through this sort of thing, you hear, you don't see, you hear sort of echoing down the cave, sorry, not the cave, down the sort of gully towards you. This,
Yeah, I tap everyone.
Do I hear the same? So I'm not actively looking.
yeah, your passive perception will pick it up, yeah.
Right, okay.
It's just this.
Yeah, I tap people
Doing
to
a
get them to
children's
stop.
ride.
Do you hear
Let's file that under creepy.
Almost certainly.
that? Do we want to pass?
Yeah, I
wait,
do.
You don't need, you are whispering. Talk normally.
Yeah.
do we want to pass without trace?
Yes.
And we want to
Most
march
definitely.
straight down the centre of the gully or go around?
It's not very wide.
I don't.
Are we at the bottom of like a
Yeah, we're-
wall?
You're
Yeah.
essentially at the bottom of
We're-
it. Yeah.
We can't get above it, so
We've
We're,
got
we're
no
probably going to be spotted.
into
nonetheless.
it we must.
Going on a bit.
Into it we
Above them.
must venture.
Cool.
Yes. I will use pass
Yes.
without trace.
Okay. Are you guys getting closer? So you're all within range of pass without trace
Yes.
then.
Yes.
Cool.
Activating clump.
All right. You need to just do.
Could we not
essentially
just
that.
move him?
I would go
We
more
should
in
the front,
centre
go in the
if,
middle.
if that's the case.
Because we
Okay.
just swap
Oh,
out
yeah.
front and second.
So do that instead.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
The gully does narrow to you have to do that though.
cool.
Fine.
Oh, hello, Dessel.
Hello,
Cool.
Shay.
So you cast pass without trace. So I need everyone to re-roll stealth checks.
That's
And
10.
here's where we all fail. It's actually
Oh,
worse.
it was worse. So much worse.
Yeah, you rolled
It's
double
the same.
17.
It's different dice. and it's the
I
same.
rolled after pass without trace. I have
I've got
the number I had in the dice beforehand.
With that.
And you have a disadvantage.
With his
That's
disadvantage.
Shit.
Could get worse.
God damn it, man.
one.
That's so much worse. That's 50. That's actually so much worse.
What'd you
So,
get?
so we've
17.
all got past without trace, it's plus 10.
Plus 10. Yeah.
17.
17.
33.
Okay.
36.
Okay.
29.
Okay.
23.
Okay.
35.
Same roll.
35. Right. Okay.
I think we may have passed that one.
Is it
Pirate Dessel game.
Doesn't matter. Your stealth rolls are so high that only a rogue with or something with expertise is actually going to be able to roll high enough to beat the average score of the party.
Around 30-ish.
I can't see myself.
No one can.
Yes,
Even the
footprints.
gods struggle to see your
Okay.
soul.
So
Devil.
I assume you slow down a little bit and start moving a little bit more carefully, quietly.
I'm still listening out.
Yeah, pass without trace, making helping. So you all over time you all start being able to hear this really creepy young girl's voice sort of just humming and singing, but you start being able to make out words rather than just a rhyme. You get the sense that what you were hearing before was, because it was fading in and out, you weren't quite hearing the full thing.
So is it the wind that was sort of like dragging her voice away?
Sort of, yeah.
Cool.
And the echoes and reverbs from the gully and stuff.
Mhm.
I suppose.
Yeah, well, yeah, not wind because there hasn't been any
Oh, so
wind.
there is no wind.
Yeah, there's never been wind. Although you have had since being out of the town, have had that same what felt like wind but wasn't wind as the sound of random bones just passed by you.
Park quite often gets wind with his diet.
So the you see that in front of you the gully opens up into it looks to be a clearing of some sort. It seems to brighten slightly relative to the way you are. Obviously everything's still pretty dark. And you can see that there is a fallen sort of tree trunk, and there appears to be a young girl sort of sitting on the tree trunk with her back to you, just sort of doing this and singing. And you can hear her singing, "Little General Monk sat upon a trunk, eating a crust of bread. There fell a hot coal, and burnt into his clothes a hole.
Do any
Now
of us know this
little
song?
General Monk is dead. Keep always from the fire. If it catch your attire, you too, like General Monk, will be dead."
So yeah, do we recognise that one?
No. That is not a rhyme you know. And then she just starts repeating it again from the top and just starts singing
Does
it
she
through
look to
again.
have any injuries from behind?
No, as far as you can
I
tell.
turn around
Get
and
the boy
ask the guy if he recognises the person or the voice or.
Or the song?
No.
Nothing at all.
I mean, it could be hard to tell.
It is
apart.
when
It's,
we-
Apart
it's,
from
it's,
some-
it's open up into a clearing. Just
In front of you, yeah. She is with her back to you, but she's sort of like 15 or so feet into the clearing, sitting on this tree trunk.
Is it possible to see a staff or wooden implement for walking anywhere nearby?
They're not near her, no. But you can't quite see the whole clearing either.
Cover me?
You said
Shamshir, no. First, Shamshir and Shade. You go in, go to either the left or right, circle round, so you can come from the side if something happens. Also, so you can get to see her face. If her face looks
We will
non-human,
lose pass without a proof.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't
It
care.
doesn't matter at this point.
really important. You said they asked, could we see us walking from it? You said not
No.
from where you are.
Yeah, you.
So
So
You
you
can't
can
see
see.
the whole clearing.
You can't see the.
Oh, we
Yeah,
can't
you
see
can
the
see
whole
it
clearing.
opens up into a clearing. You are seeing a very small section of it.
okay, because it made out like yes, you can see a walking implement, but it's not near her.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah. So sort of, essentially, you're seeing that, and she's sort of sitting on a trunk here, looking that way.
Okay.
Okay.
She's just facing a wall.
There's a little bit more. There you go.
If I cast a spell, would that remove my stealth? If that makes
No.
sense. Listen, okay.
Depends on the. Depends on the.
Well,
It
obviously
depends on
the
the.
clap, right? It probably removes.
Yeah.
That
spell.
did it.
Also depends on whether or not it's got like a verbal component or something, because that might. She might notice that potentially.
But it's not guaranteed.
Hmm.
Can I hear anything else other than her singing?
No, that is all you can hear.
Oh, a theory.
Not even the
I
groans?
really want to cast
Not
Detect
even
for Good
groans?
and Evil on myself. Oh,
No, you
how
can't
far
hear the
away?
groans.
How far away is she?
From you, because she's about. She's what? 1, 2, 3, 4. She's about 35 feet away.
Divine's how far?
About 35
Divine
feet.
sense.
Does that make?
Where
No,
are you?
it's complete design.
Uh,
She's within 60 foot.
Yep.
Yeah, she is. Cool. Yeah, she is undead.
Oh, excellent.
Well,
Oh my god.
I just go,
because I would quite like to have cast Hunter Sense on her if she's within 60 foot.
Yep.
To see whether she has any damage immunities, resistances, vulnerabilities, what they are.
She has
Because kind of, yeah, I was kind of hoping I could use that
The
to
warrior
infer whether it was
wives
an
are undead
alive
for
still
talking.
child or not. But
I just suddenly went,
Oh, sorry, undead who's talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
does that tell me
Those
she's
are
undead or
banshees.
whether there's undead nearby?
Yeah, but she's a god.
it would ping
Well, it
her.
seems to.
Hmm?
His divine sense, does that tell him whether that individual is undead or whether is it undead within a mile?
Specific wording. It shows any undead that is there but not behind total uncover.
Yeah.
Tells you where they are, but doesn't give you.
Anything much more than that.
so as long as they're in front of him.
Basically, as long
we
as
know
they're
it's
not
that
behind
way.
cover.
Situation.
If it's
then it
behind,
works.
then it could be the guy with us, but I highly doubt it.
Oh man, that'd be bad.
He's like, gotcha.
No, but she may have allies around the corner that are technically in total cover, which has not been detected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Right. So you used Hunter Sense, which gets you the resistance, immunities, and vulnerabilities. Yeah.
Exactly.
Damage, specifically damage resistances and stuff. It didn't say condition.
It doesn't say damage, it says any. Oh, yes, it does. Damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities.
Wonderful. Cool. So she is resistant to acid, fire, lightning, thunder, and bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. And she is immune to cold, necrotic, and poison.
Jesus.
That's okay, I'll melt her brain.
Quite a little bit sick in my mouth. Like, okay, that's not like a little girl. She has significant resistances.
Throw a magic dagger at her.
Can you see
Arcana. There's
What is she?
undead. I mean,
There are
Do
very.
you
There are
you tell us
a
that?
There are a lot of undead.
there are a lot of undead.
I
Assuming
can't
he
think of a
tells.
very in character way of describing all the stray wisp of hair there that means she's immune to fire damage. But
Magic,
conveys
man,
the truth,
magic.
like I don't. That's a monster. It's literally and figuratively, she's immune to the cold. She's resistant to
Or
bludgeoning.
possibly possessed.
I turn around to the guy with us and say, he hunts monsters, he knows about this sort of thing.
He doesn't seem at all phased by what is going on. He's just getting himself ready.
Shall I creep up to the corner and see if there are any
I
others?
do ask.
Just
could she
throw a
be-
dagger
Oh,
at her.
yeah.
There
No,
may be
Uh,
more.
there could be more.
As you guys are having this conversation,
Fuck! Sorry.
Try to say.
you watch as the girl sort of halfway through her rhyme just sort of stops and goes, and then hops up from the trunk and turns and goes, "Coming, mother," and wanders off that way.
Well, we've been discovered.
Well, I don't know about that.
No.
Or there's at least. What do you mean no? You don't know anything. Like,
Yeah,
she's
you
just been
know,
like called,
yeah.
so
When
we can
she-
infer there's one more, right?
When she turns, do you see her face?
Or lack thereof.
Well, you see,
It'd be the left side.
yeah, the left side of her face. Yeah, it looks like a normal face.
Okay, so
Not
she's
pallid or anything.
gone now though.
So she
Well,
looks.
she looks very pale.
Because that's about normal people we live with, though.
Yeah. Was that Derek?
So she looks like a normal little girl, apart from being a bit pale. She's not like faintly glowing with ethereal energy or anything. She
Not
looks
as-
like a normal child.
Not
As far as we can
as
tell.
far as you can tell.
Her feet connect with the ground.
Yep.
I do ask, could she be possessed?
So, trap.
If she was possessed, Divine Sense wouldn't pick her up because the creature has total cover.
It's a trap.
We missed an opportunity.
Shall I check the corner first? Or
Okay,
maybe
right.
there's more around the corner. We
Shall I go
let's
around
not-
as bait?
Let's not have a whole
No.
discussion right here.
Maybe we
I
send
can look
one
like
that
some more
goes
human
invisible.
child.
You can invisible?
What did Ryan tell us about embers?
I would like to stealth up to the corner, please.
Cool, that's
Well, I
fine.
don't know why we're having a conversation about what was the lyrics of the song. Like,
I'll be with him if he needs to be in it.
No, you can get to the edge and still be within possible trace without everyone else having to move. Although you guys have been having conversations, you have sort of grouped up a little bit.
Yay, clump.
Yeah. So you peer around. You can see the clearing goes sort of. It's a little bit bigger than that, but that sort of shape.
It's a
is
ladder.
it all walled
You
off?
can't see an exit. You can't see a cave. It's just this is it. This is
Yeah.
the clearing.
And in the sitting at the far end of the cave is a sort of it's a hut of some sort. It's been roughly put together, but it's definitely sort of rotting and falling off and falling apart and whatnot. And you watch as the little girl sort of skips her way to the door and then just walks through the door.
Is it like a solid door, or is it like one of those hippie?
It's
gangles
a
that
solid
opens?
door that she just walked through.
Okay.
And it doesn't disappear, so it's not an illusion. Sort of
Ghost.
around
That works too.
the hut, you can see a couple of creatures that are just standing. Hang on, bear with. I'm just finding out, checking what their name of that, which is in that one, which is in that page.
Bloody hell. Reference this book with this reference for this other
I
reference.
wrote down
with
what
this
book it is, what it was called. So no, I'll just show you. The gear isn't quite right, but you see things that look sort of like this.
But not so
Dot,
deserty.
box.
Not so
Stuff.
deserty looking, yeah. But they look like
Let's apply praise
Like a
and stuff.
desiccated.
Skeleton.
Yeah,
bits of muscle
it
and-
looks like a body that has had all the moisture sucked from it.
Escape
Are
corpse.
they child-sized?
No, they are full adult size. But there is sort of two of them just sort of, they're not really doing anything, they're just sort of standing around the hut. Which is, the clearing is a lot bigger than this, but yes.
About what? Roughly how big is
You're talking
1,800 foot from entrance
point
to end?
at this point to that point. You're talking about 120 or so feet.
Cool.
The hut is sort of 80 feet or so in.
So it's not against one of the walls?
No, it's more or less in the middle. It's about 30 feet tall. You obviously can't see what's on the other side of it.
How many creatures were around the hut?
Two that you can see.
I can see.
And for the doorway in the shadows.
Then I'm going to stealth quietly back to them saying,
Mm-hmm.
and the little girl has gone into a hut. It wasn't physical. She phased through the door. She just went straight through it, and there appear to be at least two of these desiccated, drained out bodies that are guarding, standing as sentries. They look thoroughly undead or some kind of.
So she's a ghost.
I'm just going
I
to
don't know
lean,
if she,
lean,
if
lean
she
back
looked quite
and
physical. Maybe the hut is some kind of safety, like the protective sphere that we can cast, and like.
desecrated ground, rather hallowed, and grab our friend and just bring him in. This familiar to you? You know what this creature is?
No.
Excellent. Good. Just like bring in the piece of information for that again.
Mm-hmm.
I have a plan.
Does it involve you committing suicide by running in there?
No.
Are you
I'm just
going to-
You
going
have
to
a new
distract
plan.
them. I'm just going to distract them.
Are you going to disguise as a little girl and start skipping around?
No, I was going to sing a creepy tune. But while I'm singing a creepy tune, they're looking at me going, I don't think you're one of us, then you get them from the sides while they're looking at me.
Can you get to that corner so we are able to, so you can pull their attention over there, and I'm pointing.
I'll go as fast as I can. I have quite short legs though.
They had quite a good vision for them.
Yeah,
Exit
I'm just
around. I
thinking
don't think you can get over there.
It doesn't help unless you can be there and do it enough to be able to get into the clearing at the time.
It's fully sealed off over there. There's no caves. It's all blocked in.
If my disguise doesn't work and they come for me, I shall shout help.
What if they don't
No.
go for you? But what if they just go straight into the hut and sound an alarm?
Shouting is not the right way to go.
Shout.
Yeah, and shouting as well too much noise. I think we should just go around this corner now as a group. Take
And
them
just
out.
charge them.
Entirety.
But
Yes.
Yeah.
rush them.
Either that, or it might be beyond this. We have to make a decision. We can't the committee here for too long. We're in a bit of a
Let's just
dangerous
go then.
spot.
Yes, let's just go.
Or one, just
Um,
if we aren't certain that the girl is real, corporeal, we can't be certain that the house or the other creature are also corporeal. Rocks fall in caverns and places like this. Someone with an arm.
There are 13 missing children, possibly in that hut, and you want to drop rocks on it?
Just so we don't rush the ambush.
No, he's just trying to do a different distraction, but a thrown rock rather than a little girl.
That's not a bad idea. That's a good idea. We should throw a rock down that way and then go around the corner.
Yes, and also if you can land the rock on the house, you can see if it's
Just
a
because you
house.
get you to throw something, is that why you're poo-pooing my plan? Okay.
As you guys are having this conversation,
Yeah, there we go. The decision's made for us.
you suddenly become aware of the fact that you are being watched.
Cool.
And as you start feeling like the hairs on the back of your neck standing up, and you sort of turn back, and the little girl is just sort of standing at the end of the guy looking down at you, head sort of tilted to one side.
What in front of us and behind us?
Over here, just looking at you.
Hello, what's your name?
Hello,
I'll take a couple
now
of steps
shout.
forwards.
I'm Eileen.
Eileen.
Eileen, my name is Eldoran.
Hello.
Where are you from?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, well,
Magic.
I'm from Jofran. Do you know where Jofran is?
No, but Mother might.
Well, where is your mother?
Oh, she's inside.
Oh, is she busy?
Yes.
Oh, well then we won't disturb her. Then
She has guests.
Maybe we can just talk for a little while. Maybe.
Okay.
How is it? Just you and your mother here?
Oh no, we have well, Mother has people.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, she made people. Yes.
She made people.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a skill.
Well, they didn't like Mother, so she made them like her. And now she's making me friends.
She's
She
making
what?
you friends.
Making me friends.
Well, that's very good.
Did-
Everyone should have friends.
Did Mother teach you that nice song?
Yes. It's a very nice song.
Could you maybe teach it to us at some point?
I could, yes.
Oh, that would be nice.
Are the two people standing outside the hut your friends as well?
Oh no, they're what Mother made.
Are they not friendly?
They don't bother me.
Can you take us to see Mother? Can you get us past them?
I can take you to see Mother, yes.
You're well then. But as long
Please, Eileen, lead on.
as
Okay.
we're not going to be imposing on your mother, we wouldn't want to cause her any
Oh,
problems.
she is busy.
I'm sure she'll want to see us when she meets
Yes.
us.
She'll be happy to know that you've made more friends.
Indeed, you have.
Oh, are you friends?
We are friends.
Friend.
Yay! But she turns around and just starts skipping towards the door.
We'll
follow.
follow Eileen.
As you guys follow Eileen, we're going to end the session
What's
there.
the sorry, first, what's the facial expression of the guy with us?
He's just like, where? I mean, he's a little bit put out, but he's with it enough to be like, as good a plan as any.
I did tell him you've got to keep up at some point earlier on. Like things move quickly, you've got to keep up.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed episode 30. As they go find what happened to the missing children, and they find a ghost friend called Eileen. Go check out all our social media, our Patreon, our Twitter, our Facebook, Instagram, Twitch account. There's stuff going on all of them. If you look onto all of it, you'll be kept informed of all the things that happen. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.